What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to talk a little bit about the Russia Ukraine conflict. And what I'm going to do today for a large portion of this stream is open up the stream to you guys. So if you give me about 5 or 10 minutes or so to explain how I'm feeling, just my overall thoughts, suspicions, etc., then for the last 30, 40 minutes of the stream or so, I will be reading your comments, reading your super chats. Don't super chat now. I mean, you can, but I'm probably not going to see it for 5 minutes. So wait till I'm done. And then I'm going to go through the Facebook and YouTube comments section and try to answer every question, concern you have. Maybe some points where you could say anomaly. I saw people saying on Facebook, everything's not a conspiracy theory. It's all fun, normal, and don't question it. And it's like, sure. Okay. You can say what you want, etc. I'm not making theories about anything. I'm just posted a meme. But anyway, that's what it's going to be. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking, then open up the floor to you guys, you, everybody, and let's get it. That's when the best conversations I think are had is when people challenge each other and, have conversations and debates outside of what they were already thinking. So your ideas are not a threat to me, and hopefully mine are not a threat to you. So as y'all are coming in, I'm going to take one more sip of my coffee. What's up, Jeremy? Happy Sunday, my favorite day of the week. What's going on, Justin? He said, just got to work to start my shift. God bless you. Hopefully you have a good day at work. Hopefully I can make it better. Someone said, isn't it Sunday? Did I not say it was Sunday? Did I say the wrong day? Whatever. All right, so I want to say this real quick. So as the, stories were coming in, at this point, I think it's after like 4 years of what I would consider just like psychological tornado of some sort, like Trump, Women's March, war, North Korea, ISIS, COVID. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like, whoosh, whoosh, you wake up, it's Monday. People are like, I'm out to dinner. Someone's texting me, World War III. Oh my God. Like, Putin did this. And I'm like, I just got out of dinner. And I'm not saying that I don't worry about the world or anything. I'm not like a cold-hearted person, but I wasn't concerned right off the jump because I felt like I felt this a million times where people are always freaking out every day. I mean, if you went to my inbox on Instagram, it's like freak out central, anomaly, bioweapon, like if I freaked out every time everybody freaked out, I'd be freaking out all the time. Nobody would watch my channel because I'd be like, I don't think that's the vibe that I put off that makes people be like, yeah, I want to tune into this guy. I think it's more like, oh, he's somewhat calm and, pretty even keel and funny sometimes. And sometimes he loses his cool, but it's pretty funny. Long story short, I learned the lesson quickly, maybe not quick enough, but now at this point where in certain cases, especially when there's a conflict going on in Ukraine, right, which is halfway across the world, if not further, I'm not going to jump on every narrative, right? I understand it's early. There's going to be conflicting reports. So I've had pretty good patience with this. I've weighed in on it, certain stories that I know, certain narratives that I could really kind of understand and tell you, this is kind of what's going on, but I can't tell you specifics right now. But that's not what the internet did, okay? Ghost of Kyiv, Snake Island, pictures of Zelensky looking like, I don't know, freaking Captain America or something, Captain Ukraine. And it's funny because I'm seeing a lot of comments. Somebody brilliantly said on my Twitter, they're like, this is what happens when you program an entire generation of Americans with Marvel comics. They literally think they're living in a Marvel movie, and that's like literally what I'm seeing. You got people that are posting pictures of Zelensky from years ago or months ago where it has nothing to do with him now. And they're acting like he's somewhere on the front lines. And I'm not saying that he's not, but the point is most of the pictures going around of him are old. So it's not even true. Like the narratives being pushed is just like you take a picture of me in an American suit with a freaking, like what's it called, camouflage on, and you're like, Anomaly's out there right now, and it's like, no, I'm actually taking a nap. That picture's from 2019. So it's like, first of all, I'm watching everyone freaking out. I see people on my Facebook. I mean, I don't want everyone to agree with me. It's fine, but I'm just saying they're like, everything's not a conspiracy theory. Just shut up and feel things, feel emotion. I'm like, it's not that I don't feel for the Ukrainian people or for people being affected, like Russian soldiers and Ukrainian soldiers. It's just like, I'm not going to jump knee deep into these narratives that are like, they make Jussie Smollett look like, George Washington. So, and I don't know exactly what I meant by that, but it's funny enough to just keep it rolling. So I want to just read a few things. Like people are starting to realize, like the Snake Island story, I did a report on it. that was one of the biggest narratives. Look at these heroes. They told Russians to go after themselves. It turns out to probably not even be true. Not only did that not happen, but most likely they might be alive, which would be amazing because we don't want them to die. But it's like, why did everybody from like Occupy Democrats, Dan Crenshaw, you have like George Soros is on the same page as Adam Kinzinger, is on the same page as Ted Cruz. Man, we're all getting along finally, right after COVID, really tore us apart. What a beautiful moment when people that never like each other, CNN, Alex Vindman, Republican pages I follow, everyone's just united on this narrative. And Anomaly should just shut up because this is a good thing. And it's like, to me, that's when my red flag barometers go off. It's like, it's like what when the left wing and the right wing agree on something, they don't agree on anything. It's like, I'm sorry, but the media in America hates America. So if they agree on something, it's like, are we like bombing Somalia or something? Are we trying to regime change Venezuela? Are we, are we like funding Pfizer again? Because these are the only things that our two parties seem to agree on. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we hate each other. We hate you. Border security doesn't exist. Guns are bad, but Ukraine needs guns and we should fund Moderna. And it's like, I'm supposed to just sit and act like every time we agree it's a good thing. It's really not. So my red flag went off. But anyway, let me read. I just want to read a few things and then I will get to your comments. Just give me like 5 minutes. This is a KFC Barstool. He's from Barstool Sports. I like Dave Portnoy a lot. He's one of my favorite Americans. KFC Barstool, he makes some good videos, some cringy videos, but overall, he seems like a super tool. He seems like a giant, DOUSCHE bag. Kid's a total tool. All right, anyway, but he said this today. He said, the people who shit on the ghost of Kyiv for being a fake story are the worst. How about maybe just getting behind a badass story to support Ukraine rather than priding yourselves on being a snopesy little bitch narc? So he's like, don't tell me that this story's fake. Just get behind it because it just feels good for me. And it's like, I responded to it. I said, let me see. I said, how about trying to make sure you're being accurate before pushing war propaganda that isn't true to fill your thirst for a Marvel hero because Hollywood programmed your pea brain? It's like, I don't care if what I'm saying is true. It feels right. And that's what, like, I post a story. I'm like, hey guys, remember that, the Snake Island story that you guys are obsessing over? It turns out that the Ukrainian defense, the border defense system, their official Facebook account are saying, hey, they might all be alive. They might have not died. That story might not be real. And people are like, yeah, but who cares? Because I like Ant-Man. So, and I like the Spider-Man where they all came back. Tobey Maguire, Kirsten Dunst. Shame on you, Anomaly. What are you, a Russian bot? Did you not see Spider-Man? Did you not see when he made out with Kirsten Dunst upside down, hanging on a spider? I mean, if that doesn't scream Zelensky's a good guy, then I don't know what. It's like people being programmed by these stupid movies that I don't watch. I've seen that one, actually. I mean, I'm not an alien. I've seen that Spider-Man movie, but these new ones, they're like, there's 4 Spider-Mans. Ant-Man's in the corner. Dude, they brought back Will Smith and the whole crew. It's like, bro, they just want your money. They're doing everything. It's like Ant-Man 17 featuring, oh my God, the Green Lantern just came back and Iron Man 7. Robert Downey Jr. is like 60, but as long as we can put makeup on him and CGI, we'll make $10 million. And it's like, people are like, man, this is why and I'm like, the point I'm getting to, I'm just joking, but really, it's like, it does matter if it's real. If I'm pushing this war hero story and I'm like, Putin has his chest out and he just gunned down 1,000 soldiers by himself. It's like, if it's not true, I should probably shut up, right? It's like, why would I be pushing literally fake Russian propaganda? And I'm not talking about like, everyone's like, everything's Russian propaganda. I'm talking about like literal Russian propaganda. Like, dude, Putin just rode a bear 50 miles and gunned down like terrorists. It's like, if it didn't happen, yeah, you probably shouldn't be posting it. I'm not going to police what you say. You're allowed to lie if you want, but it's like, when you're called out, this is like the 2 levels of people. If you say, hey, Anomaly, that's not accurate, and you could prove to me it's not, I'm not going to say, oh, but it feels good, I'm going to leave it. I hate when people do that. I don't care if they're left wing or right wing or agree with me. That just shows me that your ego and your sense of pride and your agenda is more important than the truth. Then why should I ever trust you? You know what I'm saying? People point out, Anomaly, instead of Ukraine, you said United States of America. And I literally did. And I was like, oh my God, that's a mistake. I could have been like, yeah, but the video's good anyway. Yeah, it's still better than most people's videos, but it's not true. It's inaccurate. So I took it down and I edited it. I don't care about the views or the monetization. If it's wrong, I have to take it down. People that say, I'm wrong, but just shut up about it, okay? It feels good. The ghost of Kyiv, he's up there. He killed 5 planes. Dan Crenshaw said he killed 5 planes. Occupy Democrats said they killed 6 planes. I'm going to say he killed 50,000 planes. I think he killed 500,000 Russian troops, and I don't want to be questioned about it. Just shut up. It feels good. Let me just put this flag in my profile picture. It's like, you don't want to be accurate. So anyway, to make a long story short, I'm seeing all these like Jussie Smollett-esque stories, and people are posting them. Right-wing accounts I follow, left-wing accounts I follow. Ted Cruz is echoing the same thing as George Soros, and he's like, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? So I'm not saying I love Russia or I trust Putin. That's not ever what I said. And I'm not saying I don't trust Ukraine. I'm sorry. I've kind of, delved into the history of that country. But in general, I'm like, all right, conflict in the world. Let's slow it down. Let's take it day by day, and let's not be emotional or rational. And that has somehow made me like, a bad person to people that don't think straight. But I don't really care. That's a minority of people. A lot of people are catching on. All right. So now that we know there's a lot of interesting stories, let's just get to the background of why this is all going on. I'm not saying that Ukraine is bad and Putin's good, or Putin's bad and Ukraine's good. That's not how I see the world. I understand that this stuff is complex. You have China, you have Russia, you have NATO, you have America, you have the COVID authoritarian regime, you have Israel, sucking down Pfizer shots because it's like they're trying to set a Guinness record over there, how many booster shots they could take in a year. Do I hate Israel because I said that? No, I don't. It's like, am I anti-Semitic? No, I'm just trying to make a joke about how many booster shots they're taking. You get what I'm saying? Everybody has problems in the world. I'm not acting like anyone's perfect, including our country. So I'm not seeing it as the lens of good guy, bad, because that's just not how things happen. But if you want to be honest of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, and not just like literally just spew out war propaganda that isn't even true because it feels good, you would identify the situation and say, yeah, there's hundreds of years of history. I'm sure at a certain point that probably was Russia. Things have changed on the map as far as which countries, some countries have gotten bigger over time, smaller over time. The German Empire, the Soviet Union, etc. You can figure out that history. But if you go to more recent history, NATO at a certain point has been growing. And if you're Russia, whether you like them or not, you have to understand they're not really comfortable with that. So a lot of our agreements with Russia, from my research, where we said, yeah, we're not going to go closer to you, we've just gotten closer and closer and closer to them, to the point where over the last couple of years, I believe even under the Trump administration, we've been funding them with literal weapons. Am I saying that I don't support that? Do I want weapons all over the world and people killing each other? That's not my idea of a good time. I want to be on a beach somewhere, but I'm also not an idiot where I'm like, oh yeah, no guns and let's just all hold hands. Like, I don't know the answer. I don't know what the best way to keep America safe is in Ukraine. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but I'm just saying if you don't understand any of this, then you don't understand anything. So it would almost be, in my opinion, equivalent to China or Russia, giving weapons to Canada or Mexico to fight against us. Do you think we would just sit there? You know what I'm saying? Would that be like, oh yeah, China just gave Mexico and Canada weapons to start a war with us? But that's cool because like we want our greatest enemies giving weapons to the country over. It's kind of messed up. That's kind of what America does all over the world all the time. We are the biggest imperialists. We are the biggest invaders. We have gone to, gosh knows, probably more countries in the Middle East than we haven't gone to. We're funding, people all over the world, including giving weapons to somebody right next to Russia against their will. So this wasn't random. I'm not saying that he's right. I don't want Putin as my leader. I like America. I just don't like Joe Biden, to be honest. But in general, it's like, that's kind of the context of it. We're not innocent. Ukraine is not this like perfect angel where you post a picture in your profile picture and you make him like Aquaman. You're like, oh my God, Zelensky is a hero. He's not a hero. I'm sorry, but whatever. If you want to think he's a hero for this week because the media programmed you on left wing and right wing, it's like Iraq war all over again. It's like, pick a side, pick an enemy. We got to go kill bin Laden. Now we're in Libya, and trillions of dollars later, your kids are dead and everybody's dying of opioids. But whatever. Maybe now it's ISIS or something. It's like, it's the same story all over again. It's the same thing that happened under Bush. I see right-wingers falling for it, left-wingers falling. It's the one thing that unites us. Hey, let's go to Afghanistan. Now we like the Republican. Let's go to Ukraine. Now we're on the same page as George Soros and Occupy Democrats. And you don't think that's a little fishy? I'm not saying you can't disagree with them, but the people that I have a problem with are not the ones that say, hey, Anomaly, I disagree with you. They're ones, shut up, that's propaganda. No, I want to feel this way. I feel really feely when I feel this way. It's like, yeah, because you're programmed by a bunch of like Marvel movies, literally, where it's like, oh, this is the, I don't know what to tell people. So overall, before I get to your comments, concerns, etc., here's my thoughts in general. I have multiple concerns. I don't want Russia taking over the world, but I don't really think they're doing that. I also don't feel comfortable with the NATO, World Health Organization, United Nation, American Israel regime, cabal, whatever you want to call it. The fact that they have, it seems like, zero loyalty to our country, to our borders, to our Second Amendment, to our First Amendment, by the way. It's not just left wingers, it's right wingers. I told you many times, people don't want to listen to me, but the problem is not that they are just simply into Zionism. The problem is that they prioritize Zionism over the American Constitution. So people like Trump and DeSantis and Ted Cruz and even Zelensky, they have no problem passing speech laws that, one, go against American's Constitution, but Ukraine's doing the same thing. They're passing anti-Semitism speech laws that are basically ways to criminalize speech. And that doesn't make me a hateful person, just like I wouldn't want a racist speech law. It doesn't make me a racist. How do you define racist? How do you define anti-Semitism? I made a joke on Twitter last week. They said it was a racist. I have white paper towels. They said it's a racist. I have white paper. They say it's racist. Why would I want a law that criminalizes speech when the people running the country are psychopaths and they literally think like, me existing is racist? Even if I just stand here and I'm like, I don't hate myself, I don't want to transition into a woman. It's like, well, that sounds racist to me. You should be a black transgender. It's like, that I'm not trying to be funny, but seriously, it's like, that's how crazy people are. These people don't need to have speech laws. So I reject these speech laws on all fronts from everybody, left wing and right wing. But these are the things that are being passed through in the Republican Party, and nobody cares about it because everybody's like, hoorah, my team, blah, blah, blah. Let's go fight in Ukraine. If you feel so big about that, they're actually accepting warriors. They said, if you fly to Ukraine, we'll give you a gun and you can fight. I would expect all of left-wing Reddit, all of these beta males that never fought a day in their life, that all of a sudden are like warmongers for Ukraine. Let's get them all to Ukraine. All these right-wing hoorah America accounts, get them to Ukraine too. If you guys care about it so bad, I would rather defend my country. I would rather actually do something here from the fact that I'm losing all my freedom and rights here. But anyway, long story short, it's like our allies. Do I hate my country? I love my country, but this is not the America of 1970. I don't know that I feel comfortable with the World Health Organization, the United Nations, America, and our allies, completely centralizing power, which is what they're trying to do. And I believe, leaders like Putin, although I think he is super corrupt, I think he's, a total, I'm not going to call him a dictator because he has elections, but he's not like I don't know, he's not like a great guy or anything. But same with the guy from Belarus, Lukashenko. Like, he's a little wild, but they're such a huge threat to the centralization of power, because once everything's centralized, there is no competition. Then you have full-blown communism. Everybody does the same thing. Everybody falls in line. QR codes, digital passports. If you step out of line, that's a hate speech offense. You can't say that. That's a hate crime. They're going to arrest you for your speech. That's kind of where the Western regimes are going. It's already happening in Europe. They brought it to America. It's happening in Canada. So do I think that this is some sort of righteous war to stop, evil Putin from taking over the world? I wish I thought that. It would be a lot easier to fit in, but I think it's them trying to centralize power. Belarus was the only, say what you want about Lukashenko, he's the only president, I believe, in the entire world, besides maybe Africa, who said, I'm not locking down. It was hilarious. He played hockey and he said, just drink vodka and, go in a sauna. He never locked down, not for a single day, I don't believe. And the Western press was mad about it. So now they're at war. I'm not saying that's the reason they're at war, but, Putin and Lukashenko and even Cuba, even though they're communists, they don't play along to the rules. Places like, Syria for a certain extent, anywhere that doesn't completely play along with the guidelines, is going to be under some sort of attack at some point, because the people running the world don't like when people don't listen, whether it's Saddam, whether it's Gaddafi. So I don't think this is some sort of righteous war that we need to go fight to say, I really personally believe that they are trying to stop decentralization. And although there are corrupt regimes around the world, I don't know that the answer to making them less corrupt is making them join our corrupt regime. So there's no sort of diversity of leadership around the world. And I think that's where they're going. On that note, I think the sanctions that they're putting on Russia is not going to hurt Putin. They're not even stopping selling gas. If you look it up, if we're at this huge war with Russia and it's as big as the media says it is, why are we still selling and doing gas transit with them? Because I guess we have to. But in general, it's really like, oh, we're doing sanctions on who? A sanction on Putin would probably be gas sales, but they don't want to do that. The elites want to keep making their money and doing their sales. So they're going to put sanctions on. Who's that going to hurt? It's going to hurt the poor and middle class and average person in Russia, the same way they do it in Syria and the same way they do it in Iran. If you're an Iranian elite and you're some sort of big wig in government, do you think sanctions are going to hurt you? Of course not. You're still going to eat big meals. You're still going to get your money. I mean, you run the government, so you can take the taxes. It only hurts the working class. So I find it this angle of it a lot of people aren't seeing. The COVID authoritarian regime in Europe and in America gutted the middle class like nothing I've ever seen from March 2020 until now. Gutted the middle class, gutted the lower class, took away human rights, completely restructured society to the point where we now live in a communist Chinese style system or a Black Mirror Orwellian episode, and nobody seems to think it's that strange. Oh, it's going to end in a day or a week. No, it's not. It's been 2 years. But in general, it's like, okay, they've just done that. They've just gutted the middle class. They've just literally done, I don't know, 100,000 plus restaurants out of business. I mean, they destroyed the middle class in this country and did like 100 years worth of damage in 2 years. Okay, now they're going over to Russia doing, who are those sanctions hurting? It's going to hurt the working class of Russia. So I'm not convinced. I'm sorry, but I'll let you guys try to convince me. Otherwise, I'm not convinced the same people that just gutted our middle class and our lower class are going overseas to go do it in other countries, just like they do through sanctions and war. So I mean, if it was a serious as a war, that as they say it is, why would they not cut off the gas supply and have some sort of like real standoff with Putin? To me, something is not adding up. I think I'm very, very suspicious, and it's equivalent to me, not wanting to go to war with Syria or Iraq, and it's the same thing. Like, oh, what do you like, Saddam Hussein? No, but I'm not convinced that Iraq is so much better without him. Oh, you like Gaddafi? Like, no, I don't like Gaddafi. I'm not Libyan or anything, but I don't think Libya's better off without him. So, if people that are like, oh, yeah, we're fighting Russia, it's like, do you think, and this is just a hypothetical, do you think Russia's in better hands with Putin? Or do you think Russia's in better hands with like I don't know, like a liberal feminist woman who's a puppet of the Western regime? Like, I mean, talk to people from Russia. I mean, some of like the feminists and stuff are like, he's so bad, he's so evil. But most people there vote for him because they're like, it's like a Trump situation. It's like, yeah, he's not perfect, but like he's the strongest we've got. It's the same thing they're doing to him that they're doing to Trump. It's like, is Trump perfect? Not at all. I actually can't stand Trump. He's not even a top 20 Republican in my head anymore. I think he was a total embarrassment in 2020. He proved that his loyalty was to big pharma and selling out speech laws to a foreign country over America. I don't even like Trump, but Trump is better than Biden. So if I vote for Trump, I'm not a bad person. I just identify that he's the strongest leader we have, and we don't have a lot of options. So they're giving Putin the same treatment that they gave Trump. And I'm not defending Trump anymore, just like I'm not defending Putin. I'm just saying, like, I don't think this is some sort of righteous allegiance between the left and the right that we're going over to save democracy. Like, yeah, you wish. But let me know. That's my thoughts. I'm willing to be challenged. I'm willing to be, disagreed with and read some stuff because I've heard all the bits. But let's see some top star senders. Then I'll read the super chats. Then I'll just read regular chats. Thank you, Venus. Thank you, Bull. Thank you, Renee. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Carrie, Amanda, David, Nikolai, Ursel, Jody, Joey, and Tony. Appreciate y'all. Let's see. Someone said America's going to be nuked by Putin. That's not going to happen. Hopefully. Let's see. I'll read. Mose said on Facebook, if NATO doesn't react fast, China will end up invading not only Taiwan, but all the countries unable to pay back its debts. Anything's a possibility, but hopefully not. Someone said capitalism at its finest, LOL. Yeah, I wish, I'm not like a full-blown capitalist, like money, because I think there is a flaw to capitalism. Like, if you're only concerned about money, it needs to be like moral capitalism. And I don't know how to enforce that, but you should just have a moral country. Like, yeah, don't scam your own people with high fructose corn syrup to make an extra dollar. In that ways, capitalism is bad because people are doing anything for a dollar and they're hurting their own people for a dollar. But in many ways, like, nothing about America is capitalist anymore. A lockdown is not capitalist. Operation Warp Speed wasn't capitalist. CARES Act wasn't capitalist. That was like communism. It was like everything shuts down and we decide what you do. I believe Trump was strong-arming Honeywell to make ventilators, which ended up being a horrible idea. But he was using his government powers to basically make Honeywell stop producing what they normally produce and making them produce ventilators, which ended up being a disaster. So I mean, that was not to the liberals that'll be like, oh, 2020 was capitalist gone bad. It's like, no, that was communism and socialism gone bad. There's nothing capitalist about 2020. But I'm not one of these right wingers that says, oh, capitalism's perfect. It has to be moral. If I'm willing to make $1 billion and just kill people with opioids, that's not like great capitalism. That's bad. But a lot of that stuff ends up being so corrupt, not just through free market capitalism, but it's really a lot of like government contracts and government, pharma mergers where they protect themselves from liability and know, yeah, I could kill 100,000 people and only pay a fine that's half of what I made. So, it's a combination of crony capitalism and like really socialism, communism, government abuse. But I hear you. Someone said America isn't a serious country anymore. As soon as Ukraine is out of the news, our country will go back to talking about race and LGBT 24/7 again. Alexander, I think that's a great comment. I really feel like we're that programmable. I posted a meme of it, said like Biden Harris with a BLM fist, and then it was like an NPC with like a mask on and a QR code, and then it was an NPC with the Ukraine on the face, and then it was like people are like, no, this is different. Everything's not a conspiracy theory, and I'm like, it's so easy to program people. Literally, it's like care about this, and like it's like care about this. And people are like, okay, and you got even right wingers doing it, but yeah, I think America is not a serious country, and that's the biggest threat to our own country. The fact that our own press, our own education system, our own medical complex, both parties, by the way, every time I start to think I'm liking Ted Cruz, or every time I think I'm start to liking Republicans, they open their mouth, and I'm like, oh, these people are such losers. It's like, yeah, Bitcoin's good. I'm a Republican, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then he's like, oh, we gotta go fight the war again. And it's like, oh my gosh, like these people are such phonies. And Ted Cruz is such a flopper. Oh my God, he said something at CPAC. Everybody claps like seals for these morons. It was just a few months ago that he was saying, let's take the masks off of unvaccinated people or the vaccinated people. Yeah, that's a real, after 1.5 years of medical communism, Ted Cruz wants to take the masks off of people who were good boys and girls and got their vaccine. It's like that's the best that we can do. Donald Trump funneling money to big pharma and running around the country selling Moderna shots, and people think that's okay. People are like, yeah, I know he passes speech laws, but I don't care because I think it's anti-Semitic that you brought it up, and I just want to go along with my team. It's like, well, then enjoy another lockdown, because this 4 years of Donald Trump didn't end in a lockdown spontaneously. He's not completely innocent. It didn't blindside him. He worked with Fauci, worked with Moderna, got out of office, and ran around the country selling vaccines for a year in 2021. He's not your guy. But if you want to get fooled again and ruin the country, then just keep clapping like seals for these total morons. I'll vote for these morons, but I'm done clapping for them. David said, take a look at what Germany's doing. 90% of their measures against Russia were written in their government programs before the past election. It's a psyop, he said. I mean, if anybody just unemotionally, whether, I don't know if you love Ukraine or Russia or whatever, if you just think about what have they been doing for 5 years before this invasion? Everything's Russian. Trump's a Russian. You're a Russian. Oh, you like conservatism in America? You must be a Russian bot. You like the Second Amendment? You must be Russian. You're a Russian. They take Russia's name off of the Olympics years ago. Oh, there is no, they've been humiliated, demonizing, and calling everybody Russian for 5 years. If anybody thinks that this is spontaneous, like it happened just yesterday, I don't know a nicer way to say it, but you're not very bright. Even if you're like, I love Ukraine and I can't stand Russia, that's fine. I have no problem with that. But you have to understand this is not some sort of spontaneous thing that happened a week ago. I mean, this has been set up for years, since 2014, but really before that. But really, once that happened, once the revolution happened, they put in this guy. And I want to be very clear real quick. Thank you, Gothic Barbie. With Zelensky, people seem to not understand what's so interesting about his political rise. And I'm not saying you can't like him, but people need to understand what's so unique about what he did. Even if you like him, I think you need to understand how crazy this is. People say, well, Anomaly, you don't understand. Like, who cares if he did that? He's an actor, but so was Trump, or so was Reagan, and Trump was on TV. This is not even remotely the same as what Trump and Reagan did. Zelensky I'm gonna say it again, so hopefully people can process it and realize that it's like 20 times crazier than what Ronald Reagan did as an actor. He had no political, I guess he had a background in economics, but he had no political clout. He started a production company. He had a production company. So he wasn't just an actor in a show. he created the production company. With the production company he created a television show where he made himself the star of the show. The plot of the show was this normal guy becomes the president of Ukraine. So after the revolution of 2014, or after the coup, whatever you want to call it, in 2015, just a year later, or less than a year later, there's this new show with this guy who's just an average guy who's the president of Ukraine. And 3 years of that show, then he runs for office under the same exact name as the political party from the show, wins office with over 70% of the vote, and then his production company starts to really double as a government company, and he's got multiple people in there that are now running the show of his political campaign. This is the greatest psychological operation in modern history. This is one of the, greatest finesses into power. Even if you like them, you're like, damn, that's smooth. That's some smooth. If you don't like them, it's like, wow, that's kind of like sneaky. I'm not going to tell you whether to like him or not because I don't really know enough. I don't get to listen to his speeches and see his translations. So I don't really have a strong opinion, but it's nothing like what Ronald Reagan did. It's nothing like what Donald Trump did. They were people that used their clout to win office. He literally planted himself in people's brains as the average everyday guy, president of Ukraine, into power. It's a massively amazing story. And you don't have to like him or not like him, but to suggest that it's similar to Ronald Reagan winning, it's nothing like that. It's way more, I would say, tricky. You know what I'm saying? It's way more intricate. But it's interesting. And I don't know. I want to read your comments though. Let's see. Someone said Chernobyl is right on the border up from a country that staged it in. Its only path is insignificant. Not sure what you said. Maybe I read that wrong. All right, we'll go back to we'll go back to YouTube. Michael said, Ukraine confuses me if they're so corrupt yet weak. Why couldn't they bribe the Russians to stay out of the territory once they owned aka Donbas and Crimea? Well, I can't be certain, but I'm pretty sure if Ukraine didn't have Zelensky or this revolution, probably this wouldn't be happening. But I think Zelensky combined with the revolution has brought NATO closer to Ukraine. So, I think there's a lot of pressure there from the West on Zelensky in Ukraine. Whether he's in on it or not, I don't know. But I think he's working on a deal right now. I think they're trying to figure out a deal right now. And I don't think that, and this is just my opinion, but I don't think Ukraine would have really cared that much a couple years ago because historically these regions have gone back and forth and stuff. But with NATO and the West on your back, whether you're working with them or not, I think I don't know that Zelensky wants to do that. I don't know that the people he's working with want to do that, but I'm not quite sure. That's just kind of my thoughts. But these are not really confirmed or anything. Mike Kazan with a super chat said, "I love Ukraine. They made many mistakes. Russians are not wrong and they have to go. Russians are wrong and they have to go. It's not America's war. Europe has to get serious and get involved." Well, thank you, Michael, for the super chat and your perspective. I agree with you that Europe and Ukraine should figure it out. It's definitely not our war. And like I said, I mean, people in America that care so much, they can literally fly to Ukraine and fight in a war. It's like, I mean, I'm not saying that's a good idea, but you have the option to do that. If you really want to die for Ukraine or you care so much with a flag, don't put a flag in your profile picture. That doesn't do anything. Go fly to Ukraine. Zelensky will put you to work. Maybe he'll let you hold a camera for him. Let's see. Are we going to pretend like USA doesn't have? Yeah, see, I don't know about that biolab narrative. I'm not saying it's real or fake. I don't know. Every time something happens, there's like, to me, the biolab thing seems kind of like the Ghost of Kyiv thing. Like, I haven't looked it up completely. I would have to really do the research, but that hopped out at the same time. And it's like, you got the mainstream perspective, like, oh my God, this guy's shooting down all these Russian jets. And then you got people saying, this is why he did it to make it look like 5D chess. Maybe. I'm not trying to act like it's not true, but I haven't verified that, and maybe I should look harder into it, but I don't know that story's true. But like I said, I haven't really fully investigated it, but that was just kind of my initial reaction. Everybody sending me that. Jimmy said, "Hey, thanks for doing what you do. Just for your information, Belarus definitely had, as far as I know, still had idiotic COVID mandates. I spent a month there last year and was surprised to see half the people taking the mandate seriously." Dang, that's crazy. Because I know, I guess during the lockdown, they didn't lock down, but I guess they maybe put in restrictions or something. Thank you for that Thank you for that super chat. And I think on that note, this is something that hopefully we can all agree on. Maybe not, but even people like Belarus and Putin, like some people on the right will be like, "Oh my God, they're fighting the New World Order," and it's like, in some ways, they are. Like Donald Trump. Is Donald Trump completely not in on it? I don't know, but in general, what I'm saying, and if you don't want to say New World Order, you could say like, global group of people who work together. If that offends you or something, but a lot of these leaders that people think are so rebellious, they're not really that rebellious. At the end of the day, I think a lot of these people fall in line in some case. Like Trump was like, oh man, yeah, Pfizer. Like he wasn't like really doing that much. He was doing like just enough to get people think he was about to do something real, but he really fell in line. And I'm sure Belarus and even Russia is like that, right? Did Russia completely fight mandates? Did Russia say none of this at all? I'm sure they had a lot of it too. So that is also a creepy part. It's like even these leaders that you think are rebelling against the global establishment, in some ways they are, in some ways they're playing along. And I don't know if that's like a good take or a scary take, because it's like, a lot of people are looking for a savior. And I think it's like, well, Trump must be saving me. And it's like, I don't think he's going to. And it's like, oh, Putin's going to save the world. And it's like, I don't think Putin's going to. Or like the Belarus president. I think in some ways they all seem to cave to a lot of things. Like I see a lot of people that are saying like, Putin's working with these people, like, and some people are ignoring it because they want to go with this narrative that he's gonna like really fight or something. And same with like Ukraine, like, oh my God, he's Aquaman. Oh my goodness, he's the new Marvel character. It's like he's not that cool. You know what I'm saying? Like the Ukraine president is not gonna like save the world. Like this is straight up just like propaganda. Like, oh, he is Robert Downey Jr. in an Iron Man suit. It's like, no, but it's okay. Let's see. Someone said if it didn't happen on The Simpsons, then it didn't happen. That's funny. Jennifer said, "Do you think they'll stage a cyber attack to have a major blackout across the U.S.?" I mean, I don't know, but I would say cybersecurity is a very big threat in general. And Klaus Schwab put on I think it's called the Digital Polygon or Cyber Polygon conference, where he was explaining that. So I'm not saying they're going to plan it, but I think that they are prepared for something like that. And let's just put it this way: these type of people seem to have really good foresight. They did the Event 201, World Economic Forum, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, John Hopkins. This is real. They try to act like it's fake. It really happened. But what it was a simulation of a coronavirus, and they had pretty much a blueprint of like what they would do with the CEOs, with travel. I mean, you can watch it on YouTube. It's from 2019. So it does seem like, whether you're a conspiracy theory or not, like these people have good foresight. So as soon as he talked about the Cyber Polygon or Digital Polygon conference, I listened, I tuned in, and I think that that is, one way or another, it is a threat to the world. This idea that, the wrong sort of hack or something could, I mean, everything's digital. It's not that hard to figure out how that could be devastating. Like, what if, your bank account didn't work? What if you couldn't log into social media for a week? I mean, that's my job. So I don't know. I would cry, and I would sit in the corner in a fetal position and be like, I need an oat milk latte. Somebody help me, mommy. No, I'm just kidding. But in general, I guess like, yeah, what if certain things went down? This is why I mean, like electric cars and even gas cars are now like computers, this is all very dangerous. In some ways it's amazing, but now you're so on the grid, right? I think that's what I'm talking about with Russia too. It's like, I don't think they're amazing. I don't trust Putin at all. However, I see there's this global push for centralization. They do it in America. We used to have states' rights. Now there's, well, gay marriage is legal. Okay, well, did states vote on that? No, it's everywhere. Okay, well, people will say you're hateful for not agreeing with that, but what if you disagree with it just like from a strategic reason? Like, we're making all these laws, not just that. There's like 30 other ones that now everyone has to follow. We don't have individual sovereignty, and we also don't have states' rights. Like if California does it, but Texas, I'm okay with that. I think that that's actually a good thing. I think it's good to have different ways of living, and then you can kind of compare and contrast and be like, well, that's working in Texas. We should try that in California. We don't really have that anymore. Everything's getting centralized. We're having mandates across the states, et cetera. So that's my concern with the Ukraine thing. I mean, Ukraine is in with all these people. Russia, I know they work with China, et cetera. So they're not like innocent or anything. But this idea that like, who do you pick in this battle where like both of them are corrupt, Both of them don't have your best interests at heart, but you know for sure that one of them is literally trying to centralize power on the whole planet or the whole earth, whatever you want to call it. And, if they get that total power, do I think that America's going to win? Oh, yay, every country's under America's control. We win. No, I think that's going to look a lot like 2020, except worse. I mean, they're already rolling this stuff out in Florida, Texas. They have all these identification systems under the rug. So, I don't know. It's a very tough situation. I'm going to read this real quick. Kimmy said the left hypocrites bitching about U.S. and AK-47 guns, now cheering on Ukraine citizens using AK-47s. Yeah, no matter what Republicans do wrong, and I'm not trying to say this as like a biased person, liberals are always worse, at least in the modern era. Like everything they do is literally wrong. It's like 3 weeks ago, they were like, who should own an AK-47? And they're like, you should own an AK-47 in Ukraine. It's like, I would love for these liberal left-wing like Reddit users, send them to Ukraine. They cry all the time about AK-47s and now they want them in Ukraine. Go use them in Ukraine. I don't care. I mean, I don't want to start a war with you, but I would rather you go to Ukraine than sit on Reddit in freaking San Francisco talking about AK-47s. Like everything they say is a lie. I don't know how any rational person could be left wing at this point. And I'm not even trying to be like, oh, the right wing's so great. I just told you how much I despise most of them. But everything that the left wing does is wrong. Literally, like border security is not important, but it's important in Ukraine. AK-47 should never be owned. Never, never, in no situation, except for in Ukraine, we should give them out to citizens. It's like, who believes these people still? I seriously don't understand. Like, who is that target audience? Like, while following Occupy Democrats, they're like, AK-47's bad AK-47. Good AK-47. It's like what? No matter how bad Republicans get, it's like liberals always find a way to take the bar lower. Like I'm starting to get disgusted with like Republicans off of this Ukraine stuff, and like liberals find a way to just go lower. And I'm like, where? Like what? How do you even find a bar to go below that? Like you just lie about everything all the time. It's kind of sad though. I don't know. Like how does this work long term for these people? I think there's a lot of depression, a lot of drug use, and I'm not saying everyone who disagrees with me is a drug addict, but I'm just saying like imagine if like everything you believe is like wrong. It's like hard work, dedication, like self-awareness, self-accountability, taking accountability for your life and not blaming others. It's like reverse that. If you want to be a left-wing politician, just take everything that Gary Vee says, everything that Tony Robbins says, everything that like David Goggins says, all of these, whether black or white, these motivational speakers, life coaches, like strong individuals, either mentally or physically, take everything they say and flip it around. And then you could be a Democrat politician. Like every recipe for success in your personal life, just do the opposite or say the opposite. And then you could be a Democrat politician. It's like hard work and dedication can persevere. No, you'll never persevere without our help or something. You're, black power, you're so strong, but I'm also going to simultaneously say you're too weak to do anything and you need my help to do anything as a white man. It's like, it doesn't make any sense, but I guess emotions are a really strong thing. And you see that with Ukraine, like even a lot of men and women, but a lot of women are getting super emotional about the Ukraine thing because it's got this like hallmark story to it. I saw a kid. I saw the ghost of Kyiv. I saw Adam Kinzinger posted, and then the Republic, and then I believed, and it's like it's got this whole like vibe to it where people are like, but Anomaly, I don't want to hear it. I believe in the ghost of Kyiv. It's like, okay, maybe it's real. Maybe there's some Ukrainian that no one knows his name. It feels like, is that not like a plot of a video game or something? Like they just took the plot and like copy and pasted it. It's like Halo 5 or something. They're like, yeah, dude, there's this dude. Did you hear the story of the president of Ukraine? Dude, he's actually Robert Downey Jr. and he discovered like a metal suit and he's out fighting with a metal suit. I'm like, dude, you're just reading the Wikipedia for Iron Man 2. Like that's the plot of Iron Man 2. Like, oh shoot, I read it somewhere online. I believed it. It's like, maybe, I don't know. Someone said Soros is backing Ukraine, says it all. I find this to be the funniest thing. I mean, if you want to talk about who's backing Ukraine, this is where people listen. Don't get mad at the messenger, but you got George Soros, Ted Cruz, most Republicans, most Democrats, CNN, Alexander Vindman, Republican pages I follow, Occupy Democrats, Dan Crenshaw. This seems to be the only thing we can unite on. Soros, Crenshaw, pro-Trump people who say they're anti-neocon, Democrats, CNN, people that you don't like. Oh my God, this must be world peace. This must be what it is. We're all going to get along under Ukraine. To me, that's just like, red flag, red flag. And I know why this is happening. And people are going to get mad at me for saying this. But I don't care. This is the truth. And until people on the right understand this, nothing's going to make sense. On the left wing, you have this Marxist, Leninist, communist, socialist ideology of big government. That's the left wing, okay? So people just assume the right wing is America first. We're fighting for our. That's not who the right wing is. I told people it's Zionism, communism, Zionism. And they're both going in the same place. And you might not understand that, or it might sound hateful to people and they don't want to hear it. But as soon as you realize that communism and Zionism are going to the same place, you'll figure out why Governor Abbott is tweeting the same things as George Soros and Adam Kinzinger. Okay. You're going to figure it out one day. I promise you. And when you do, nothing's going to be the same, because you're going to see through their trap and be like, oh, you're leading me in the same exact direction. They're both going in the same place, both of those ideologies. Why? I didn't invent this. It doesn't mean I'm a hateful person, okay? I don't hate people. I'm just saying I've studied these ideologies. I've studied who these people are. I've studied what they prioritize, and I vote for right-wingers because I think they share more common interests at this moment, but they're heading in the same place with their ideology, because all of these politicians, Trump, DeSantis, Ted Cruz, Governor Abbott, they don't prioritize America, American citizens, American interests, None of that is their number one priority. I know what their number one priority is. I've seen it, and they're passing laws to try to make it illegal for me to say it. So I know who these people are. They're scum, okay? They're just fooling you. And there's a reason that 4 years of Donald Trump ends in a lockdown where he's running around the country like the Tasmanian devil selling Pfizer vaccines. Does that sound like a leader who cares about America? 4 years ending in a socialist communist lockdown, and he's out of office running around doing Moderna sales? Does that sound like someone that's your best friend? People didn't learn their lesson from that. I don't even care anymore. It's like, I can't run around and tell people what to think or how to believe. So I actually am almost at peace with it. It's like, I don't think we deserve anything better than this. Like, everyone's like, we deserve this, we deserve it. We don't deserve anything. Our grandparents, they had to sail the 7 seas, come to America, deliver trash, go back at their family with 15 cents in their pocket. Like, they deserve freedom. My parents deserve freedom. I don't feel like we even deserve freedom. So it's like, that's why I'm getting too jacked for the gulag. If I got to go to the gulag, I'm gonna look good in the gulag. So maybe there's a female, commie, prison guard, maybe falls in love with me, lets me slide out the back door or something. Cause I got to be at peace with the situation until right wingers figure this stuff out. We're not going anywhere. We're going backwards, 3 steps. Communists are going back 30 steps, and we're taking 3 steps back. It's like Ted Cruz, let's march 2 steps forward and 50 steps backwards. CPAC speech about Bitcoin, starting another war. These people are just professional robots. I'm on to you, Ted Cruz. I like you. You seem like a nice guy. I might even vote for you, but you got to stop being a little sneaky boy, okay? Stop being a sneaky man, Ted Cruz. We see you sneaking around. We like you. We might even share your video now and then. I might even copy and paste your tweet and send it to my audience, but you got to stop being a big sneaky boy, okay? Someone said explain. I don't feel like it. I'm going to get back to comments. I don't want to ramble. I want to read stuff. Let's see. I promised I would read other people's comments. I talk too much. Marta said, Korea is practicing on the limits of North Korea and South Korea like Russia did before invading Ukraine. China is the same against Taiwan. We're next. This is a bigger threat than Vladimir Putin. Our country is run by psychopaths who don't care about anything. All they do is lie all the time. I've been trying to say that about Ukraine. I don't like Putin. I don't want to live under Putin. I don't want Putin to take over the world, but he's more honest than a lot of these people. That's not my fault. Joe Biden is a piece of garbage. I'm sorry. The dude is like, hey, you're going to die if you're unvaccinated. They're not even talking about the vaccine anymore. Now they're talking about war. Am I still going to die, Joe Biden, because I didn't get Pfizer shots every year? Shut up, dude. So oh, anomaly, I love Ukraine. It's like, our biggest threat is the fact that our leaders are so dishonest that they make Putin look like a freaking truth teller. And he's not the most honest person. It's just that's how bad our country is. Who respects us anymore? No one respects us. Russia doesn't respect us. China doesn't respect us. North Korea respected Trump. That's why Trump's a better leader. He's just more honest. Is Trump perfect? No, but nobody respects somebody that's a complete and total liar. Trump was the first leader in a long time, to his credit, who actually told the truth about things. So North Korea respected him. Putin respected him, but at the same time was not best friends with him, was probably scared of Trump a little bit more than other leaders. So, I get why people like him. I would vote for him over Biden, even though he's a sneaky Zionist first, anti-free speech, Pfizer salesman. But that's my only two options. It's either that or a baked potato who's been in the microwave too long, which is Joe Biden. It's like, yeah, I can't vote for that. I understand that gas prices will go down and maybe my taxes will go down and maybe we won't start 15 wars. So that's worth it. But do I think that that's sustainable? I don't know. Trump's almost 80 years old. How much longer is he going to be able to operate at a high level? I mean, the dude is already declining. I mean, I'm not trying to be rude, but it's like he's not the Trump of 4 years ago, but nobody wants to say it. It's like, this is our only option. I don't know. I don't think anybody respects us anymore, but yeah, I don't know. People got to start telling the truth in America and not blaming everyone else. Like, we got to be a better country or else it's all going to fall apart. Let's see. Someone said there's no good guys on any side. The World Economic Forum. I hear you, but someone said I'm 55. I never thought I would see America at such a weak point. God bless you, Julie. I know it is just pathetic. I got to live in this. Well, hopefully I have to live, but it's like I don't know, 50 more years, hopefully at least. I'm not trying to put up with this stuff. I say stuff. I said this hilarious joke on Twitter that went super viral on like liberal Twitter, and a lot of like black men were like, yeah, that's right. And then like some black women were like, no, that's wrong. It just like blew up in other circles that normally don't follow my politics. And it was hilarious because like some woman was like, you're a racist. I'm like, first of all, my tweet is hilarious. It's just funny. And it's not racist. But in general, it's like, I don't even care anymore. You guys call like paper towels racist. 5 years ago, you called me a racist. I feel horrible. I'm like, I gotta like prove myself. I'm not a racist. I love people. I'm such a nice guy. I'm a nice guy. I don't have anything to prove. Like, I'm like, hey, welcome to the Anomaly Show. And they're like, is that Caucasian paper in your hand? Is that white European nationalism? It's like, I don't care. None of these words mean anything to me anymore. I like laugh at them now because I'm like, you literally, they're like, do you like Lizzo? And I'm like, no, it's not my favorite song. They're like, what do you not like? Obese black women? You need to like her. And I'm like, I didn't say that. I just said I don't like her music or something. They're like, oh, well, who do you like? I'm like, I don't know, Kendrick Lamar. They're like, it's cultural appropriation. I'm like, I don't know. I Bon Jovi, leave me alone. Whatever. I don't know. Just name something white or something. So it's like none of this even matters anymore. Oh my God, you're such a horrible person. I'm like, it's actually like funny. And then like so many guys were so many dudes were like, yo, he's going to get so much backlash for this. And I'm thinking to myself, man, if only you knew how little I cared, but also you should just tell the truth. It's not fun to be afraid all the time of like feminists screaming at you. It's like, I think women are good cooks sometimes. And you like run off Twitter. It's like, that's no way to live, to like be afraid to like say anything all the time because these psycho leftists are going to like freak out at you. Just laugh. It's like funny. They're like, I don't know. I'm not going to, never mind. I was going to tell a story, but I'm not trying to get into stuff. Someone said Caucasian paper. This is Caucasian paper. I mean, think about it. Why is paper white? Paper could be black and ink could be white, but the white man said, oh, we want more white. So they said, we want the paper white and the ink black. So more white, less black, right? That's why paper's white. Okay. I heard it on a podcast, a left-wing podcast. They told me, back in Egypt, when black people were inventing everything, they had black paper and white ink. And then the white man came along from the Caucasus Mountains or whatever, Nick Cannon said. And that's when paper turned white. Trust me. And if you disagree, you're a right-wing fascist. They found an old tweet of mine too, and I was like, wow, what a good tweet. I'm not going to read it now because I don't feel like getting in trouble, but it was so funny. They were like digging up my old tweets, and I was laughing. I was like, I can't believe I said that. I was like, but that's really funny. I don't feel like saying it now. I don't want to. It's not that I don't want to get canceled. It's just like I got plans next week. I don't want to deal with this. Maybe in 2 weeks. But they're like, look at what he said, and I'm like, oh man, thank you for. I was starting to lose confidence. I forgot how funny I was. They got me right back in the zone. I'm like, man, I should do stand up. That's a great tweet. Thank you for finding that. I would have never remembered I said that. Say it. I don't remember. I plead the fifth. Let's see. Someone said we got to stop paying Russia for fuel. We need to get back to energy independence. Well, that's how you know something's suspicious is they're putting sanctions on working and lower class Russians, but they're not stopping the fuel. They're still getting Russian fuel. So, I mean, if it was a real, economic war, I mean, that would be a huge cutoff. But they're always, this is like a thing that they do. They just let the poor and the working and the middle and the average person suffer. And then the normal upper class people suffer. And the oligarchs don't care. They're like, I'll get my fuel. You'll get this. We'll still do trade. Did we ever stop doing trade with China? Like I see all these guys. I was forced to wear a Chinese mask to go on a plane in 2020. They're like, put this Chinese mask on your face. We're fighting China. And I'm like, this country's so stupid. I love America, but it's so stupid. I'm at a freaking like airport and they're just like, excuse me, put the fence on because of the CDC guideline. Like, I feel like I'm in like a stupid movie and everyone's like, dude, we got to fight China with the Chinese mask. Put the China's mask on, fight China. And I'm like, what? And they're like, we got to fight the COVID. We got to fight the COVID by making everybody fatter and just drinking high fructose corn syrup. The only way to fight COVID is to shut down children's sports and make them really fat. So then they get COVID easier. It's like, what? And then I'm like, let's not do that. They're like, geez, Hitler alert. And you're like, what? You're like, you think making kids fatter is going to fight COVID-19? Like, what? We don't live in the same world. I don't know. Maybe I'm living in a metaverse or something and it's all a show. I don't know. I watched the Truman Show again. It's like, maybe that's what's going on. I'm checking for cameras now when I'm at the beach and stuff. I'm monitoring how people act. People are looking to the side. I'm like, what are you looking at? They're like, no, I'm like, so, Someone said, see y'all later. Best news found here. I'm off to hear more truth with John MacArthur. Okay. I don't know. Was that like a diss to me or something? You're like, I'm out of here to listen to John MacArthur. The better news. Come with me, folks. Come with me to John MacArthur's page. It's like, are you like plotting against me? Or are you saying, hey, I had a good day. I'm going to listen to a church sermon. I don't know. Either way, I appreciate you, but I can't tell if that's like a plot. It's like, psst, come to this page. Yo, everybody leave Anomaly. We're going to go listen to this guy. It's like, okay, sure. That's fine. If it's like a church sermon, who am I to judge? It is Sunday. Someone said, what's up with the flood of fake IG clips? I mean, almost everything people have been posting is fake. Most of the pictures of Zelensky dressed like a little soldier, are from not even recently. Confirmed. The ghost of Kyiv sounds less believable than Jussie Smollett getting attacked by Trump supporters at a subway in Chicago. And people have been posting that. Everybody's posting that, by the way. Democrats, Republicans, everybody. Kinzinger, pro-Trump Republicans, I'm fighting the neocon Republican. Everybody's posting that. I'm like, it's more believable that Jussie Smollett got attacked by two Caucasians and with a freaking, Subway sandwich, but whatever. And then the Snake Island story is now provably not updated because that whole thing probably didn't. Oh, they didn't surrender. They said, go kill yourself. They're such heroes. Chances are they did surrender and they're all alive. They didn't die and sacrifice themselves. Maybe we'll find out that they did, but from the reports coming out of the Ukrainian border guard defense system, it doesn't seem to be true. So those are like the three biggest things I've seen. The ghost of the Snake Island story, not what they said it was. The ghost of Kyiv, unreported confirmed rumors. Yeah, because you read a movie script or something. And then, Zelensky dressing up like a little toy soldier. He looks like one of those little things I play that. He's so brave. He's like, yeah, he's really going to fight Russians. He's like, it's like, put the cameras on me, folks. I got to, I'm just, people don't think. It's like, okay, when I go do something, like, do you know everything I do all the time? No, because I'm not filming myself all the time. The only thing that I do, like people must think I'm boring or something because 90% of the time I don't film what I do. I don't I feel no desire to film most of my life because I'm trying to enjoy it. I'm not trying to like flex for Instagram or Facebook. It would be better to do that, I guess, but I don't really care what people think. I'm trying to have fun and get off the phone. It's like if there's a picture of him in a freaking army suit looking like this, he knows the camera's there. It's not like he's on the front line gunning down Russians. It's like he's standing somewhere with a vest on with massive cameras, probably by like AP or Reuters or Getty Images or something, taking pictures of them. And then he probably turns around and goes back, just like they're like, I have my mask on. I have my mask. I love masks. And they're like, okay, cut. They're like, oh, thank God. That sucks. I just wanted the poor people to have to wear them. It's like, it's just like people are like, oh my gosh, he reminds me of the Iron Man. It's like, dude, it's a camera. Someone took a picture of him and they're not even new. Google, do an image reverse search on those things. They're not even from 2022. And people, these are the three most shared stories. Ghost of Kyiv, Snake Island, Ukrainian actor president who takes pictures with cameras. It's like, Anomaly is such a bad guy. Oh my God, he thinks with his brain. Oh no, now we have to like Anomaly. He's a patriot now. What? Here. This, if I was running for office at CPAC or something, if I was one of these CPACians, I'm like, and then they take a picture, they're like, dude, Anomaly's this patriot. I mean, how do you know? Well, I saw him wearing a cowboy hat with an American flag on it. He spoke at CPAC. He said freedom 15 times, even though he didn't defend it in 2020. I mean, he's got to be one of us. Jeez, there's high quality 4K footage of him smiling in I got like veterans next to me. I got like injured veterans and I got them. I'm like, these are my boys. And that's like cut. I like push the wheelchair to the side. I'm like, get this guy out of my face. I need a smoothie. I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But I mean, this is like equivalent to people are like, dude, there's a picture of the Ukraine guy with a vest on. It's like, and I made it into a meme to emotionally manipulate people. And it's working phenomenally. Ain't nothing more American than doing this with a cowboy hat. That's how you know you should vote me for Republican governor. My name is Governor Abbott. I'm just like you. I pass speech laws for Israel and make it illegal to criticize. I like guns. I like guns. Sorry, I messed that up. And then I'm gonna call Gab an anti-Semitic platform and try to kick them off the internet, even though they're the only social media company holding up the Constitution of the United States. I'm an American patriot or something. I really care about Texas or whatever. And people are like, seems legit. I mean, this guy's got our back. It's like, yeah. He's going to really do a number to those illegals or something. I got to stop. I'm going to get in trouble. But seriously, I mean, the dude literally tried to kick Gab off of the internet. Gab is a right-wing Christian-owned organization that is not pushing speech laws, subverting the Constitution through this, I'm a company, I'm a public entity. And you got the governor of Texas trying to kick them off with an Israeli flag behind him. We need to stop Gab. They're not anti-Semitic, bro. The word means that what racist means. It doesn't mean anything anymore. In my head, anti-Semitic means you hate all Jews irrationally and you hate them and you want to hurt them. Like, yeah, that's really mean, bro. Anti-Semitic now means, oh my God, you talked about the Rothschilds. Oh my God, you mentioned George Soros. Oh my God, you mentioned the fact that Republicans take money from, Jewish donors. Oh my gosh, you talked about the CEO of a network. Oh my gosh, you breathed air. Oh my gosh, you didn't like your deli sandwich at Greenblatt's Deli. Like, I mean, everything is anti-Semitic now. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg isn't anti-Semitic. She's just dumb. And she's pretending to be Jewish when she's probably not. So, I mean, is she like, oh my God, she's so hateful? She loves Jewish people so much she's pretending to be one. I mean, she doesn't hate Jewish people. She spends her time around Joy Behar. How smart could you possibly be? At a certain point, I actually feel like Whoopi Goldberg deserves reparations for having to spend her life around Joy Behar. I mean, if that doesn't make you dumber, I don't know what would, Joy Behar wants to go on vacation in Ukraine or something. She's all upset. That was the coolest thing I've ever heard. Everyone's like, oh my God, can you believe that? I'm like, it's relatable. I want to go on vacation to Ukraine too. And with all this fighting, it's going to make it very difficult. Like, I also want a hot tub when I get there. That was the realest thing I ever heard Joy Behar say. I'm not ashamed to add, oh yeah, I really want to stand with Ukraine. Then go fight in Ukraine. If you're really such a badass, go to Ukraine and Zelensky will go give you a camera or a gun or something. And it's like, no, I want to go on vacation there. I'm selfish just like Joy Behar. No, but jokes aside, it's like everything's anti-Semitic. No, she's just not smart. And she hangs around other not smart people who act like they're smart for a living. So you get this ego when your job is to tell people opinions, and literally everybody's opinion is garbage on your row. And the smartest person, Meghan McCain, looks like Albert Einstein compared to you goofballs. And, 5 years of that, how could you not think you're right about everything? So then she says something about, Jewish people and white people, and people are like, what? And she's like, what? And they're like, what? And she's like, huh? And they're like, go sit in the corner. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's anti Semitic. It's just not smart. It's just dumb. But at the same time, I get what she was trying to say. But at the same time, she's just not my bag of tea, for lack of a better term. I don't go to Whoopi Goldberg for like analysis on news and race. I would rather literally do anything else. I would rather like eat 15 McDonald's disgusting buns, with no meat on them, than listen to Whoopi Goldberg talk about geopolitics. But in general, or race, but in general, it's like everything's anti-Semitic, everything's racist. You can't be passing these laws saying what it is. It's made to take away your free speech. Now you can't talk about anything. It's like everything's illegal. Everything's a hate speech. No, it's not. It's really not. And opinions, perspectives, stereotypes, this is not like a dire crime that you need to arrest somebody. In many cases, it's just humor. And in many cases, there's inconvenient, truths about things where, long story short, Governor Abbott, Trump, DeSantis, they're all passing these speech laws into legislation. It's such a massive concern. The Ukrainian president majestically did it as well a couple months ago. This is what they're doing. An entire world where you're not allowed to speak freely. This is the agenda. Putin is not perfect. He certainly doesn't allow anything, but our allies in our own countries doing this to our people in a free society is a huge threat. All right. God bless you guys. God bless America. God bless your family. God bless the world. Thank you guys. Thanks for your perspective. Sorry if I rambled too much, but someone said my friend is in prison in Pennsylvania for posting anti-Semitic memes. That's like Europe level, loss of free speech. This is the type of stuff that people don't even realize is happening under their noses because their favorite people are doing it. Trump, DeSantis, Ted Cruz, Governor Abbott, they're all in on it. And if you rewind this 20 or 30 minutes, you'll figure out why they're in on it and why these two competing ideologies in the Democratic and Republican Party are going in the same direction. They're all leading to a complete loss of freedom. And it's inconvenient to hear because it's like, oh, shucks, I thought we were going to win or something. And it's like, no, yeah, but it's not that bad. It's not like, oh my God, the world, it only is that bad if your whole stake is not in God, your whole stake is in Trump, or your whole stake is in the Republic, then it's like this scary thing to hear. It's like, I thought Trump was going to save me. I listened to somebody tell me that Q is kind of, it's like, it's not really that scary. It's like, no, Trump's not going to save you. Ted Cruz is not going to save you. Governor Abbott's certainly not going to save you, but it's not a bad or scary thing. It means you get to live your life. You're part of the equation. You're not a spectator. You don't just sit there and wait for some guy to come along and just scoop you up. It's like, be a part of the change. That's how America changes. It does it on a ground level up, not just on an up level down. So it's not that bad of a thing. People hear it and sometimes when they say it, they're like, they throw their head like, anomaly. I thought if you're saying this, it's not Trump, then who is it? Is it Biden? Is it Biden or Trump? Are you a Biden supporter? Are you a Democrat? Oh, a Russian agent? Oh, you're another anti-Semite. It's like people like cope with it by freaking out. They're like, who is it then? Who? And I'm like, DeSantis is passing speech laws. It's just a fact. But then who? It's like, not you. I don't know. Not you, I guess, because if you're freaking out that much, you're not going to lead me. But I don't know. Like, is that crazy to hear? Like, it's like people are idolizing these people, And I don't really care what religion people are, but a lot of these people claim to be Christians, and I'm not like, oh, I'm the bigger Christian than you. I'm not trying to like get in like a pastor battle. Like, you're going to hell. No, you're going to hell. No, you're going to hell. Like, I'm not. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm certainly not the biggest pastor, preacher, or something. Like, that's not me. However, a lot of these people are like, I'm Christian, I believe in God. They literally like, Trump's coming back, Trump's gonna save me, I'm like, dude, you're idolizing Trump. Like, you care about Trump almost more than Jesus, which, like, I've gone through a phase where that almost happened kind of to me, where I'm like, I'm not knocking it, but it's like, like, that's when someone's like, yo, Trump did this, and you're like, yeah, whatever. It's like, Trump did, what do you mean? If it's not him, who the heck's gonna save it? It's like, this is why nothing gets done, because you tell somebody something they don't want to hear, and instead of being like, oh, I learned something new, that's unfortunate, but it's, I'm glad you told me. It's like, it's just like, yeah, I'll go to CPAC and Turning Point events and just, Tom Cotton's gonna save us with the Ted Cruz, and the Charlie Kirk's gonna get the, it's like, I don't know. Someone said who? Honestly, out of all those people I mentioned, I'm not trying to be mean, but I didn't mention Candace, but I feel like she's on point with more than anybody in the Republican Party that has like a lot of stature. Candace Owens seems to get it the most. From the war in Ukraine, she's totally on exactly what I'm saying without even talking to her. She just gets it. The vaccine stuff, as far as like the mandates, and even in general, she's going way harder than Ted Cruz, way harder than Donald Trump, way harder than any Republican with these organizations. So it's like, out of anybody with a lot of clout, she seems to be the one, although she's young and etc., that she seems like she completely gets it in an unapologetic manner. So I'm not saying she's going to lead the country or the world right now. She's super young, but I'm like, people are like, oh, if not them, then who? I'm like, I don't fully agree with anybody, or else I'd be them. But I think, it's not going to be Ted Cruz and Trump, but whatever. All right. God bless you guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody too much. I think I offended myself, but it's all good. I'll get over it. Have a good Sunday. It's my favorite day. It's one of the Lord's favorite days. At least I think, I don't know. I don't want to speak for the Lord. That's sacrilegious, but it's one of my favorite days. I like to reflect. I like to think about stuff. Thank God, etc. Enjoy the sun when it's out. It's a good day. Have a good one. Appreciate y'all. I'll be back soon.